The staff review page is to hold all of your development reviews that take place with your line manager throughout the year. Previously, these were either done on paper or Word documents and were emailed and often lost in between reviews. So this way it means that the reviews are all in one place for both you and your line manager. These will be edited jointly, however this video is just going to take you through so it gives you a little bit more detail about who should be filling out what. So review 1 should be taking place between October and December. Your line manager should send you a meeting request for this, or you may like to request a meeting from them depending on when you'd like your meeting to take place within that timescale. So this box will be filled out with your date of review and name of reviewer. The employee, so you, will give an overall summary of your performance against the current objectives or goals. Now these will be the ones set last academic year, or those of you beginning this review process, it will be after your probation is completed. Okay, so it will either be last academic year, or those of you who are new starters, this review process will take place after your probation period is completed, and the objectives or goals will be contained within either one of those. So you will give an overall summary about how you think you've progressed with those objectives and goals, and your manager will give their overall summary in that box there. So with this first review, you need to agree together 2 or 3 goals or objectives related to the college and 2 or 3 targets related to key aspects of your work. These are just recommended numbers. This is obviously negotiable within sort of your job role and relating to what your manager's needs are from the department and from you at this particular time of year. So these goals are very flexible, but this is just some guidance that we're kind of giving you in terms of whether it's related to the college or directly to aspects of your work. For those of you who are teaching and learning staff, at least one of these goals should be related to your last graded or developmental teaching observation. So ordinarily, again, you will have been emailed or shared a copy of that observation. What we are recommending from now on is that you add the files to the bottom of the page here, so that you always have those records in one place, which means that you're not diving off all over for different pieces of evidence. If you watch the other video about how to add those files, that should help. Okay, so when you've set your goals and objectives, you're going to type them in these boxes here. You're going to list the CPD that you think will help you to achieve those goals and objectives. So what kinds of CPD are you going to undertake? Are you going to do some considered research with colleagues? Perhaps you're just going to focus on doing independent kind of reading of things online, as well as books. Perhaps you're going to attend some sessions either internally or externally. If you click on this link here, that will again take you through to the 22 opportunities at present that we have available. Once more, if you feel like there are further CPD elements that we need to add to that page, please email us and let us know. You're going to list how you think your success with this goal or objective will be measured. It's often quite tricky once you set a goal or objective to realise when you think you've met enough of it for you to be able to move on. So try and think ahead about what success will look like with that goal or objective that you've set for yourself. You're then going to write down the date that the goal or objective is to be achieved by. These goals should be typed by the employee. You may like to write some before the review takes place. However, they should be in agreement with your manager, so it's usually best to have this review page open during your staff development review, and then you can both fill it out together. It's always useful during these reviews to write down longer term ambitions. So where do these goals fit in with your longer term career ambitions, or longer term goal ambitions? Maybe your goal is a broken down segment of a larger goal that you're working towards. Summary of the main points of the review and priorities for the future. So this is to be filled out by your manager. So your manager will type in this box kind of their summary of the main points of this review that was undertaken. There is then a space for the employee comments in terms of how the review went and anything you'd like from your manager to help you develop further in your role or beyond. The teaching and learning staff only box is to kind of update on where your observation process is at. This is particularly useful for new staff where they can kind of measure when their last observation took place. In terms of the review and the goal setting, again, for teaching and learning staff, some of this will be based on your observation, some may be based on learning walks, and for all staff across the college, the goals and objectives will be based either on kind of college objectives or expectations within your work role. So it's likely that your manager will have conversations with you during this review about how they think your role is progressing, and you're able to contribute to that as well. There is a space for supporting evidence for the review, so again you can type in your links or add them to the very bottom of this page. There is then a box for your manager to check that your record of CPD is up to date. So they can sit with you and have a quick look through your implement and reflect record. If the record is up to date, then your manager will write in here the date that they checked that, suggesting that it is up to date. If it isn't up to date, your manager will give you a date when they're going to go online and check your record again to just check that that record is up to date. They'll also check that your iTrent record of CPD is up to date. That's just where you're going to be logging your hours for activities completed, and your manager will update that box. Okay, what then happens is that the rest of the page contains review 2, which should take place between January and March. Again, you should get a request for a meeting from your manager, or you can request a meeting with them if you wish. So there's review 2 there, which looks very, very similar. And what you'll be doing is reviewing progress with the goals that you set in the previous meeting. Okay, so at the top here, when you're saying overall summary of performance against current objectives or goals, it's the ones that you'll have set in review 1. What you'll then do is scroll down and onto review 3, which will take place sometime between April and June. And these goals, maybe, depending where that time period exists, may carry over into next term, so that when you start review 1 again from September, you can look back at the goals that were set in April and June. Okay, have a browse through this. It should be fairly self-explanatory and straightforward. It's useful to have these time scales so that if you think you need to create a meeting that hasn't already been created with your manager, you're able to do that because you know when your reviews should be happening. Okay, so that is the staff review page.